sometimes we need a good swift kick in the backside to wake us up and force us to make change, because change is difficult. Okay, how do I adapt? How do I pivot? What's my new business model? Because if they don't, they won't survive. And I think that craft brewers, as innovative as they are as a whole, they're absolutely the kind of business people that will adapt and will survive. HopZOil is a different format of hop ingredient. It starts with, first of all, with a different raw ingredient. It starts with only fresh, wet, or green hops at harvest time. That's dramatically different than the norm, which takes dried processed hops. And after you've been drying them for 5 to 9 hours at 125 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to lose some of the volatile aromatics. So starts with a different raw ingredient. Number 2, it uses a different extraction process. We use only steam distillation of these fresh hops, no solvents, just pure steam. And number 3, it's a totally different end result. We never thought for a second that at the time that we started that this was going to be used in anything other than beer. But as we put HopZOil out there, cheese, ice cream, chocolate ganache, all kinds of other ingredients, beard oil for your lovely, luscious beard, all kinds of applications, soft drinks, non-alcoholic seltzers. It's almost endless, because if you think of it as a flavoring essence, as a sensory or aromatic essence, it's no longer just for beer anymore.
So here's the curveball. What about HopZOil in hand sanitizer? Because hops has got all kinds of antibacterial and antiviral properties as well. Have you thought about that one?
We've actually done it. IPA scented hand sanitizer. It's wonderful. We have done it.
What are my choices today that you confidently can recommend I explore to introduce your oil in my beverage or in my product?
So what we do is we start with, here's what the HopZOil is. Here are what the various flavors are. I think there's 17 or 18 different varieties or blends right now. The first thing you want to do is narrow it down to what aroma, flavor, what sensory profile you're looking for. Because they're all a little bit different. So the way that we do it is take a innocuous beer, or it could be water or whatever it is, a beverage, and take a different toothpick for each one. Just get a wet toothpick and put it in that little bit of water or beer, and use a different one with each variety of oil. And then you've got all these base liquids that are the same, and then sample them, get the difference between them. When you get one or two that you really like, then what I would do is I would take a full range of beverages, let's say beer, from a stout, a porter, amber, IPA, honey blonde, just really from dark to light, from heavy to light, and use that same variety in each one of those different styles of beer. So you've narrowed it down to which flavor profile you like. Now, how does that flavor profile go in a beer? Test small, test often, and then you can grow into it. It's much better to take an existing beer, like let's say a stable pale ale, and dose a corny keg, a 1/6 barrel, and try that, and then put it on tap and let your customers test it and get feedback. And if they like that, if it sells good, great. Try it again, try it with something else. It's a lot easier to test small. You do not have to create a new batch of beer.
When we started using HopZOil and using different techniques on hopping, it really improved our shelf life.
From the first time we used HopZOil to the second time and the third time, I personally can't find the second time on the shelf. So the first time's out. You can't find it anywhere. It's not in the tap room. We don't have it in cans in the walk-in.
We had planned to do 120 barrels of the Evil Dankster, and we are on batch 4, which will complete 240 barrels of Evil Dankster, and that's gone so fast, and we can't make it fast enough.
We don't do anything just because it's cool, right? Like it needs to have some impact in what we're looking for. Our best sellers, which are IPAs, to last longer on the shelf, such that whether we get a can 3 days after it's packaged or 3 months, it should taste more similar than not. One of the claims that HopZOil had in its presentation at CBC was that it helps maintain freshness and those hop aroma profiles in the beer longer, and so that's why we wanted to tackle that instead of just throwing more hops into the beer or whatever.
The source product can be a liquid and it can be a powder. So we could create a hop oil powder. So if you wanted to make a hop oil flavored tortilla, you could literally create crackers or beverages or sauces or brownies or cakes, anything that would benefit from, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be hop forward. It could be, you could create a focaccia bread that by the addition of a tiny little bit of hops allows it to be differentiated in the marketplace or that much more appealing. How many professional chefs would love to just add 1 drop of hop oil to a soup to enhance their flavor or the aromas, and people are like, I don't know what I'm tasting, but it's amazing and it's better than anything that I've had before.
Tom kept on saying, you have to talk to these guys, because they're doing something quite unique. Seltzer. How did that come about?
I really love beer, but I just can't afford that many carbohydrates to stay on this diet that I was in. And so I started taking more of an interest in seltzers myself. During that process of really first starting the seltzers, that's when we first connected with Tom at Glacier Hops Ranch, because he wanted us to create some carbonated water with hop flavoring in it to give away at the Craft Brewers Conference down in San Antonio. So we said, sure, we can do that. And Mike did the research, did a little testing. Yeah. And so that was kind of the initial thought of, wow, you know what, if we can do this with water, if we could do this with a seltzer, I think we might have a winner on our hands. And it really, I think, based on our initial reaction right now, is going to become a monster for us.
You market this product. What are the possibilities you tell your customers?
I have a lot of perception. How could you pair this amazing product with other common products? For example, coffee. If you put 1 drop from HopZOil and do espresso, you can't believe how amazing come out this aroma.
The people loved it. Anytime we had it in the tap room, we posted it. Hey, we've got a new hop oil beer. It was like, bam, sold out. I mean, the sales speak for themselves. So it has this wet hop flavor, which in Texas, like, you don't get that anywhere, right? I mean, people live in the Northeast. You can experience that sometime once a year, whatever. But here in Texas, no one even knows what the hell that is, So we're giving something that no one has ever had, and it's a new technique. It's a new thing that people are super excited about.
I would say probably a third of our customers right now have a beer that is 100% substitute, 0 pellets. A lot of times that's born out of the messy frustration and high cost of yield losses from all this biomass, and they just hate it and they want to get away from it. It's a new flavor. People don't know really what hops are in their pure, unadulterated sense. And when anybody who has gone to a hop yard during harvest time, the smell of a fresh hop is not like beer. It flavors beer, but it is a new flavor category that I think will be discovered. And there will be nuances because, well, is it hops? Well, is it Cascade hops, or is it Azacca hops or Amarillo hops? There's going to be those nuances that people will start figuring out about this, whether it's in a soft drink, a hop water, or a beer.